Hey, hi, hello everyone. Welcome to part 6 on Crud management system. Guys, in this video we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take care of our insert value, actually probably create new.php page. So for that, again, the functionality gonna be quite similar to the one we have in the edit page. Like, we need to list the labels out here, we need to list an input, or probably we need to make some checks, and we need to find out whether it needs to be a text box or an input box. And then finally we need to write some script in order to insert values to the database. So without wasting any time, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna open the file called create new.php here. Okay. uh, Inside it I'm gonna say include once, call list tables.php, list tables.php, and it needs to be inside the folder called libs. Okay guys, so if I'll go to libs, we already have a file called list tables. And if you remember, we have already called the function to get all the fields inside. Probably this needs to be list fields instead of tables. That's my bad, guys. It's gonna confuse us later. So I'm gonna copy it, close this file, and here say list fields.php, not list tables. Okay, so I'm gonna grab this particular variable called table fields. I'm gonna go back to my create new.php, and I'm gonna remove all this junk markup from here. And guys, out here I'm gonna start with some PHP tags. Very first, I'm gonna run a for each statement. I'm gonna say for each dollar table fields as dollar key and dollar value. Okay. And guys, probably instead of wasting time in writing everything, we can go back to the edit.php file and we can grab all this from here like this. Okay. And come back to create new.php and paste all this here. Okay, next thing we need to change is we need to remove these values from here because we don't have any values inside our table. So how we can show values if we don't have one? I believe that is fine. And guys, we need to remove this particular for each statement as well. Okay. Okay, dokie guys, come back, refresh. Oh, there is an error on line 40. Oh, that's fine, we're gonna check it out. Here would be the ending of my if statement. Here is a for each statement. We have one extra curly brace. Oh, awesome. We have a name field, we have an email, password, by a user level, and a button called insert values. Okay, dokie, that's fine guys. So next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna write probably a method in order to insert values to our database. And guys, this particular method gonna be a bit tricky if you are not been dealing with PHP arrays and some inbuilt kind of array methods. Then you're gonna find it a bit tricky. But again guys, don't worry, you can leave some comments or you can contact me personally if you need any kind of help. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to our class called manage database. So very first we're gonna check out the requirements that we need in order to insert anything to a database. So here I'm gonna say insert data. Okay, that's fine. Here I'm gonna say the table name very first. Then we need the fields name, like which fields we want to populate. So here would be fields name. Then would be bind parameters. We're gonna discuss about that later, not now. And there would be the field values. Okay. Here would be field values. And guys, out here I'm gonna say dollar query will be equals to dollar this link query, or probably prepare, because guys we're gonna run some prepare statements. They are saved from SQL injections. So here I'm gonna say insert into dollar table name. Okay, here I'm gonna say fields name, like it's the second parameter. Field, okay, like this, fields name. Values would be the bind parameters. Okay, so that would be dollar bind param, like this. Then I'm gonna say dollar query execute, like we need to execute every prepared statement, and I'm gonna say dollar fields value. Okay, and then I'm gonna say dollar row count. It would be dollar query row count, and here I'm gonna say return dollar row count, like how many rows have been affected by this particular query. So guys, now there is nothing special about this particular method. Everything is straight and simple, like we are passing in 4 parameters, and we are using all those 4 parameters out here while inserting some values to a table. Now guys, now some tricky things will start happening once we're gonna create these variables. So what we're gonna do is, inside create new, I'm gonna include one more file called libs/insert data.php. So come back here, go to libs, here create a new file called insert data.php. Okay, what this file gonna do is, very first we're gonna make a check if is it what is this, okay, dollar post, and we have a post parameter called insert values. That means we have actually clicked this particular button. So out here, very first I'm gonna say dollar $param will be equal to dollar $post, like the way we did last time. Okay, and while editing things, dollar table name, we're gonna hard code it in, would be the users. Now guys, we need a variable called dollar fields name. So for that, what we're gonna do is, here I'm gonna say for each dollar $param as a dollar key dollar value. Okay, now here I'm gonna say if dollar key is not equals to insert values. Like, we don't want to create a variable for our button. Okay, like this particular post gonna contain everything, including the button name and its value. So we don't want to create any variables with that. So I'm gonna say if dollar key is not equal to insert value, I'm gonna say dollar fields name will be an array of dollar key. That's it. Okay, and here I'm gonna say dollar fields value will be a variable, actually would be equals to dollar value. So let's come here guys, print our dollar fields name. Okay, like this. So let's refresh, hit insert value. We have nothing. The reason behind that is we have not defined any action, we have not defined any method for our form. So here I'm gonna say form method would be post, and action would be the same file, that would be create new.php. So go back, refresh, hit insert value. Here it says name, email, password by user level. That's absolutely fine. They're gonna be our field name at the time of inserting data to the table called users. So if you will notice, here it says name, email, password by a user level. Same is out here. Now guys, the next thing is, at the time of inserting values, we cannot pass in arrays. Actually, these needs to be string separated by a comma. So we're gonna do it out here. Here I'm gonna say dollar probably like this, fields name will be equals to implode. That's a PHP inbuilt function that will let you convert any array to a simple string, and you can pass in a kind of, I would say, actually how you wanna separate these arrays. So I'm gonna say dollar fields name. So come back, okay, this time here echo dollar fields name and hit resend. Now guys, we have name, email, password by a user level. So our first task is completed. We are able to get field name with a comma separated value, so we don't have to worry about it. Now guys, next thing is, every time we work with the prepared statements, we do not enter the actual values out here. So if I'll go back to my class, here we do not enter actual values, we actually pass in some quotient marks. So if you have ever worked with any prepared statements, and you do have an idea, like the number out here we have, like, say 3 and 2 5 fields, so we need to pass in 5 quotient marks out here. So we need to take care of that either. So for that, what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna echo it out. Okay, very first we're gonna count our so I'm gonna say fields count will be count dollar, or probably we need to do it out here on the top. Okay, dollar fields name. So come back here, I'm gonna say echo dollar field count. So refresh, here it says we have 5. That's awesome. So now we are able to get how many quotient marks we need. We need 5 of those. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say for x is equals to 1. Okay, dollar x is less than equals to dollar fields count. Okay, field count dollar x plus plus. Okay, here I'm gonna say total counts will be an array equals to a quotient mark. Okay, that means we are actually building an array out here. So let's come back and say print r dollar total counts, and here it says it's an undefined variable. That is not fine with us, is it? Okay, here I said greater than. That's my bad. It needs to be less than. So guys, here it is 1 2 3 4 5, but again it's an array. We need to actually our values to be comma separated. So I'm gonna say bind params will be equals to implode with a comma, and the array we want to implode would be dollar total counts. Come back, echo dollar bind params. So refresh. Now we have a comma separated quotient marks here. So task number 2 is also completed. Now we are only left with the very last one, and they're gonna be the fields value. We need them to be an array, and finally we have an array, so we don't have to do any crazy stuff with that. Now we are ready to go ahead and run this particular function. So here I'm gonna say create, or probably insert. Okay, I'm gonna create a variable called insert. Go back to our class, copy this particular function and its parameters from here. Here I'm gonna say $init like this. Okay, table name, we have a variable on the top. That's done. Fields name we have out here. That's done either. Bind param, it needs to be here, and the fields values, we have fields value. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is, guys, out here on the top, we need to include our class file. That would be class called manage database.php and an init variable containing an instance of this class so that we can actually deal with it. Okie dokie, guys, finally create new here. Let me say John. Email would be Johnny @john.com. Okay, password would be this is John. Bio would be hey guys. User level would be 1. Insert, it says function name must be a string on line number 55. So come back. Oh my gosh, it needs to be like this. So refresh, everything's fine. Come back here. Oh awesome, we have 2 values called Johnny because we got some error. We thought it didn't work, though it worked for us. So go ahead, insert one more value, and again guys, this time again we're gonna create some success and error messages. So here I'm gonna say if $insert is equals to 1, here I'm gonna say $success, new value added. Okay, else, oh my gosh, these needs to be curly braces. $error needs to be there was a slight problem. Every time we have a slight problem. Okie dokie, so come back to the file called probably delete, and I'm gonna grab this particular, I'm gonna copy this particular block of code, and I'm gonna paste it here. So guys, come one more time, refresh this file, and let's make one more entry. I'm gonna say zombie like this. He gonna have an email. Do zombies have an email also? So let them be a Gmail subscriber and give them a password called zombie, and they are zombies. Okay, they are zombies. 2 insert value. It says awesome, new value added, dude. You are able to manage your database from here. So guys, now we are able to insert, we are able to view, we are able to edit, we are able to delete. Now we are a super geek. The only thing left is how to switch, table name inside this particular select box, and they're gonna be super easy for us, but we're not gonna cover it in this particular video. We're gonna make one more video for that. So I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.